What do we do today? Well, I guess it's not welcome in. It's at the end. We did. We talked at nauseam about the Heisman.
The Heisman, yes, we talked about the Heisman.
I think it's fraudulent. I think the Heisman's fraudulent. Zane thinks it was legitimate. You'll hear.
I got
all
the
about
stats
that.
to back it up too. San Fran, what they should do? Should Mike McDaniels leave the Dolphins? Who knows?
All of those things, of course, are QB rankings and then picks for Week 16 and the college football picks as well. I'm Devin. That's Zane. You're watching Buffet Sports. Let's talk about some football, baby.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing. Blasting like bombs.
All right, I want to start the show with something that's bugging the absolute hell out of me, and I can't get over it. It just drives me insane.
Sponsor, DraftKings.
No, it has nothing to do with betting. It has everything to do with these like first-time head coaches or interim head coaches or just, for that matter, just head coaches in general. Yeah. Kick the damn extra point. What the fuck? It's driving me nuts, dude. Kick the extra point. Like, I understand that you come this far and the in a lot of these games where it's like, okay, should we kick the extra point or go for two and try and win the game? The defense hasn't been that trustworthy, but in most of these games, they're coming back from down multiple scores, and your defense has proven themselves over the last quarter and a half. Trust them if you lose the coin toss.
So you're talking about the Saints game?
Yeah,
that's what you're talking.
That's what I'm talking about.
Dan Rizzi,
just kick the extra point, man. We're like, you're playing football at the very least. Like, you're playing football and you've got a shot, and you just had a rookie quarterback that comes in, he's playing lights out, and then you put a rookie quarterback in that situation where he's had to come in. I don't remember at what point Spencer came into the game.
It was pretty early, I think.
Either way, he's played a great game. He's led you guys down the field. You guys have come back down. It was like 3-20 at one point. You scored like 16 unanswered points. Just kick the extra point and go to overtime.
Yeah.
Like, just give yourself a shot. We picked the Commanders to win that game. So am I happy we picked correctly? Mm-hmm. Yes. But it's just dumb. I get you're trying to make a statement to, like, be the cool new guy of,
is it the statement? Like,
I think
why would you do it?
To me, it's I'm the interim head coach, and I'm trying to make a statement that I'm aggressive and I work in today's analytics thing, so keep me for next year.
You think so?
I think it's like I'm trying to make a statement. We're trying to win football games. And also, at the same time, I get it from the other side of, like, okay, let's say we do miss. We're not exactly hurting our draft stock. Like, we're helping our draft stock out. But it's just like, if you're really trying to win the football game, then kick the extra point and go into overtime and you know, believe in your defense. You guys have scored 16 unanswered. You have 16 unanswered. That's a lot of points in the NFL.
Yeah, maybe he thought it was just like, okay, we have an ungodly amount of momentum right now that we don't know what to do.
But you already got lucky. The whole reason that they scored is because there was a ref that, like, threw his hands up, like, stop the clock. So it stopped for a second, and then they resumed it so they shouldn't have even got the playoff. So they shouldn't have even scored to begin with. That's the part that I'm like, you already got a blessing from God.
Yeah. Do you think like the ref came over and he was like, hey, you just go for two on this, right? Like, if the Saints, if you guys win this game, I'm gonna lose my fucking job. I'm going to lose my job if you guys go for this and you win.
Well, and that's the thing for me is I don't know what it is, like, statistically in those cases, because the onside kick is out at that point. You're not worried about it because it's just one to tie. And we saw this happen in the Bengals-Ravens game. And that's not a new head coach. That's a seasoned head coach. I just don't get it. If someone in the comments can explain to me in my pea brain why you go for that, go for two in that scenario rather than just kick the extra point and go to overtime, I'm like, I know it's Jaden Daniels on the other side of the ball in that case, but, like, it's also Jaden Daniels. He's a rookie quarterback. Yeah. I get it. I kind of, like, saying that now, I kind of get it from the Bengals' perspective. I don't want Lamar. I don't want the ball in Lamar's hands.
Yeah.
Like, in that chance.
But also, you take it to overtime.
But I guess in that scenario, there was no time on the clock. So it doesn't matter. He's not getting the ball back. So,
so
no,
Lamar
I'm right. Why?
Lamar would have, if they kicked the field goal, it still would have given Lamar time with the rock in his hand.
Well, it went to overtime. There's no time on the clock. So there's still the opportunity that I guess you put the ball in Lamar's hands, but I mean,
I don't
just
know.
don't get it.
He had like a late tee time. Like I don't know. Like he's gonna go shoot some golf.
I don't know. So down in the comments, please tell me, what do you guys think? Why are these coaches going for 2 instead of just kicking the extra point and going to overtime when they could be playing football? I just don't get it. We've seen it too many times this year. There's something I'm missing, and a lot of the scenarios don't involve the onside kick. So tell me if I'm an idiot.
Baseball went all stats.
I would love to see at the end of the year what that is.
Yeah.
But
Let's kick it over to San Francisco.
San Francisco, what do you think they do? What
In
should
general?
they be doing? Yeah, what should they be doing?
In
the rest of the
general,
year?
well, I was gonna come on here. I was gonna talk about like culture.
Okay.
I'm a
go
big
ahead.
culture
Let's,
guy.
okay.
And like,
Give me the culture
I
angle.
was gonna come on here and was like, what's that guy's name? That linebacker. Do you know his last name? I don't know.
I'll find it.
Yeah, you find it. So I was gonna come on here and be like, 49ers don't have a culture. That's why they're losing, because they have all these guys. They have this, but because that guy walked off, I'm gonna be like, okay, everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
They gotta like just basically do a rebuild. Maybe we can get a new head coach. But I did see George Kittle and a bunch of other people come out like in the media, and they're like, I don't want to play with a guy like that. And then now, that man who, what's his name?
We're still finding.
Well, he's been suspended for 3 games. And if you don't know, there's only 3 games left in the season. So basically, he has been suspended for the rest of the season.
Rest of the year.
And he's probably going to get cut.
Devondre Campbell.
Walked off.
Walked out.
I think like 3rd quarter, 4th quarter. I don't know. A bunch of guys came out and said like, I don't want to play with a guy like that.
Yeah.
Which for me, that shows a vote of confidence, because I was going to say that like 49ers don't have a culture.
I think they've got a culture of toughness. I mean, they talked about it. There was a guy, I think it was on Speak Up, who went through all the things that have gone on this year. I mean, Joey Bosa's playing with 2 bad hips. There's been multiple guys on that team that have literally lost children during that and have played through the rest of the year. And like guys are playing banged up. Brandon Ayuk's torn his ACL. Debo's he's had sicknesses and is fighting through God knows what. You know. So it's like that's just betrayal.
Yeah. And gosh, you had to make it so serious. My point in this was not serious at all. I'm glad that they have culture and they have a little bit of fight, because they did end up worrying me. If you remember when Deebo Samuel went and punched a long snapper, and then everybody on the team got mad at the long snapper for getting aggressive and mad at Deebo Samuel. I thought that was going to be the downfall of the 49ers, because it felt like it was like the 1600s and a prince is beating up on a peasant, and they're like, how dare this peasant look at me? Or, you know what I'm saying?
I still think, I mean, I don't know if it necessarily is. I don't know if that's a culture thing.
I'm just happy that this came out, because
they care.
From what it was looking like, it was looking like a bad organization, to where like, hey, if you're a skill guy, you're a guy who scores touchdowns, you can do whatever you want, like punch a long snapper, like jab a long snapper.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's not even he's not even a guy who scores touchdowns.
Yeah, that is true. He's not a guy who scores touchdowns.
He's not even he's not a star.
Yeah. What does he do now? Tweets. He tweets.
Yeah,
and
he tweets.
Punches.
He
long
tweets
snappers.
and he drops balls.
Yeah.
He tweets and he drops balls. He's terrible.
He's like one of us.
He is really one of us.
He's like one of us.
He's really one of the guys.
Yeah, he's one of the guys now.
Yeah, I don't. So what do you think they do long term? Because there's a lot of we heard Troy talking about it on the broadcast at the end of the night tonight.
I don't think,
you know, what if Chicago makes a couple like trades for Kyle, put some picks on the line? I don't think Kyle.
What do you mean, like a trade for Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah, you can trade for coaches.
Yeah.
We traded for Sean.
Yeah, and then John Gruden got traded to the Bucks.
Yeah.
You think they would be like, yes, let's trade Kyle Shanahan, like 49ers?
Yeah, well, no, that they're just. My point is Troy was talking about it.
Yeah.
Like everyone's talking about the scenarios of like everyone for some reason is like Kyle Shanahan to the Bears, and it's like no, that's the absolute like that's the most dysfunctional franchise, and a guy that like that wants full control is not going to go to the Bears where he's got to deal with also. No one called me out, thank you, but his name is Shane Waldron, not Warren. I was killing myself all week. Waldron, Shane Waldron. he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be in that situation. Yeah. But where do the 49ers go from here? Assuming Kyle's back, assuming Brock Purdy's back, assuming George Kittle's back. I'm assuming Brandon Ayuk's probably going to be back.
Yeah.
If it were me and there was anyone who would take Debo, I would get him out. He's a cancer.
Yeah.
So where do you go? Because to me, it feels like the window's closed.
The window only is closed until a nice, good-looking young guy comes walking by and opens it up again. You know, like it's just they have an old team. Like their star guys they're not like old, but they've been in the league for a long time.
My point is they're all of their roster spots are tied up in a lot of guys who already are getting paid.
Yeah,
and so you can't exactly, unless you offload those guys, trade those guys, or cut those guys. Even if you cut those guys, then your salary cap's chalked.
Yeah.
So
their salary cap's already chalked.
That's what I'm saying. So where do you go from here? What do you do from here? Do you just run it back and pray for health, even though these guys are older? Like I just don't know what trajectory you go down if you do get rid of a Deebo Samuels. I mean, we don't even know what Christian McCaffrey is next year.
I think you keep everyone the same. You try and draft a good running back this year because God knows you need one. You're probably going to need a 5-deep running back room with the amount of injuries you guys sustain with how you guys run the ball. So I would get some guy that you like, and then the only difference I would make is get rid of Debo. Try and get somebody else because at least this year he just hasn't been the gadget guy that they have needed. Yeah. Especially with Christian McCaffrey going down, this was his year.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey are down. Who's going to be the best wide receiver on that offense?
Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, who's going to be the best wide receiver in the league? Like he's going to get
that is a bright
so
spot.
Many balls.
That is a bright spot, honestly. That Juwan Jennings has showed I can actually be that guy.
Yeah, and even last year, towards the end of the season, even in the Super Bowl, Juwan was getting so many balls in those big moments.
Yeah,
I just feel like when it gets, unless it's the Eagles for whatever reason, when it gets into the big moments, like Debo's just not there. He's not available.
Yeah, speaking of another team that might need to do a rebuild, I just want to make a quick point of some absolute fuckery I saw on Twitter today about Justin Herbert, our guardian of victory.
Our guardian?
Someone was talking shit about our guardian of victory. A Dolphins fan tweeted a picture of the final score of the Bucs-Chargers game, and the caption was essentially Dolphins fans said we needed to draft Justin Herbert. And, of course, the comments, I mean, Twitter's a ruthless place, right? Or X, whatever you want to call it. They're just ripping the guy a new one, all these things. First off, Tua needs to get to the point where he can play a full season before we even put him in the conversation with Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Then he needs to win a game in below 40-degree weather because guess what? The NFL playoffs are in January.
Yeah.
Third, legitimate question. I'm not trying to be a little ruffian. Should the Dolphins consider rebuilding this summer?
I think yes, because the conditions that I laid out in the offseason have been met. Have they not?
Yeah.
Like Tyreek is no longer like a superstar, you have to utilize him while you can. Like he's not that guy anymore. So there's no reason to keep this offense around. You no longer have a purebred German Shepherd that's going to win you the Greyhound Bowl or whatever. You know, you don't have that diamond in the rough, the once in $1 million guy.
Yeah.
Because he's just not that guy this year. So I think, you can start it this year because you no longer have a reason to keep this offense going.
Yeah. Honestly,
you don't even have a reason to keep Mike McDaniels there.
I know that's where I was kind of going with
because
if you tear out the head coach, because we saw guys all around the league that are similar systems who were missing their quarterback and played with guys that are much worse. I'm looking at you, Malik, or what's his name?
Malik
Willis, and he played amazing, right? And they were able to figure that out. Now, how much better of an overall team are the Packers? Probably much better, I think, from what we've seen this year. But to the same respect, you could argue that was Matt LaFleur's Picasso. That was incredible what he did with Malik Willis. And we saw what what McDaniels did with a Tyler Huntley, who's not like a nobody. We saw him play in a playoff game. Was it good? No. But he's been in the league. It's not a Malik Willis. So, is he a keeper?
Well, it's the same thing as, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels. Mm-hmm. Both teams have one guy that can, as QB, that can run their offense. Mm-hmm. Nobody else can. So if your offense isn't working and you're going to rebuild and you're going to get a new QB, there's no sense in keeping the head coach because the head coach has one very specific guy that he needs to find to be able to run his offense.
Right.
It took a premium draft pick and it took Jimmy Garoppolo. It took all these guys. It's the same thing not in Miami. They got their guy right off the bat, but we've seen nobody else can really run Mike McDaniel's offense except for Tua. So it takes a very specific guy. If you're going to get a new quarterback, which – I mean, there's definitely some validity there to maybe you do want a more reliable person than Tua as your franchise guy, even though, I mean, I love Tua. Tua can keep playing for sure.
I think he can be, like, he's in the perfect situation for himself, but the worst situation because it is a warm weather place. So his arm is not the strongest. We knew this coming out of the draft. Like his arm is not the strongest. He is injury prone. It's a pace and space offense. Mm-hmm. So like he fits in that system. Yet at the same time, he plays in a division where every other place is cold. Yeah. And if you aren't going into the postseason with like winning your division where they have to go through you're chalked. So it's like the perfect and worst situation possible for him. Yeah. So I don't know, and I don't know what kind of guy you go get. Like I don't know. Yeah. To your point, I don't know what guy you match with him.
Well, there's a lot of things. If I was what?
Brock Purdy.
What? Just swap him?
No, but like think about it. We were talking about how they're not gonna pay Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And so what if Kyle's just like, ooh, shiny new toy in the draft, and instead of drafting an O-lineman like he should, he takes a quarterback in the next 2 years. Yeah. Brock's out.
And then that's a guy that could. I think that's a guy that could fit. They just use QBs that work in their system like groupies. Is what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah,
so
but
they just swip and swap them whenever they want.
I think that's a guy that could run Mike McDaniel's offense.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because if Brock Purdy has a superpower, it's pace and space.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. But if I was a betting man, at least this year there has been a lot more movement. A lot of teams have been more aggressive with what they're doing. But like the history of the NFL is it takes so long for somebody to just like rebuild or like change anything. Everybody's afraid of change because they're afraid of doing things like giving up Saquon Barkley, and then now he's the best rusher in the league for a division rival. Right.
But then you can look at it from the other side of the ball too, and not to like yank my chain, but like you can look at it from the other side of Sean Payton, who's like, you know what? I got the best I could out of Russ. Yeah. Sometimes marriages just don't work. We're gonna set him free. He's playing great in Pittsburgh, and we're playing great here.
How you just like dissected what actually happened between Sean Payton and Russ. Like you should be a lawyer. Like that. What actually happened? It was a domestic violence dispute where Sean Payton had been beating up on Russell Wilson for the past like 5 weeks. He's bloodied. And then you come in and they're like, they both have their own problems. It
was an amicable split.
They've been talking it out. They're gonna split. Great guys.
But I mean, look, at the end of the day, it worked. Like it was a nasty split, however you want to put it.
But that's also a new head coach going into a system. Yeah. I think once you're a head coach who's already in the system, you have what works for you. Once you get a quarterback that truly meshes in your system, it's difficult because if you get it wrong, you're an idiot. And everybody's going to call you an idiot. And like, why would you give this guy up? He's better
maybe
than
Jonnu
this guy.
Smith is the new Tyreek Hill.
He could be.
That's what we got out of this.
Yeah, it could be.
What do you want to talk about? I want to talk about the Lions-Bills game, unless you have something else that you want to go into.
No, we can do Lions-Bills.
Okay.
We can do Lions-Bills. It kind of wraps into what I was going to say anyways.
Okay. I am just astounded at like the Lions' ability to put together just like I have no words. They're just like they gave up 48, but they also put up 42. Yeah. Like that's so explosive. And we always like throughout the year we're like, okay, they beat the Titans by by the century mark, whatever. They put up all these points and we never questioned if the Lions are real. We've never questioned it. But seeing this week where you have 2 more guys go down. David Montgomery's in and out of the game. He comes out of the game. We find out he's having season-ending injury on his MCL.
Rip the parlay.
And you lose another defensive lineman to another season-ending injury. Yet you stood up to the Bills with that ragtag group and put up 42. And arguably, we talked about it in the car, you could have, like, if Dan Campbell doesn't go for that onside kick and they're able to hold, there's a shot that you win that game, if not make it like it's like a 1-point game or something like that. Incredible. On the other side of the ball,
that's what I was going to
another fucking alien performance.
That's not what I was going to bring up.
Okay.
I was going to bring up, like, you were saying, like, Lions performed amazing going up against this outstanding team. They almost won it. They kept it close. Put up like 42 beans.
Yeah.
Lost by 48, whatever. To me, it's like, okay, Bills' defense is a problem. Like, the Rams put up 40 on them. Yeah. The Lions put up 40 on them. And, like, hey, those are 2 great offenses. But, I mean, the Rams, we thought, like, the Rams were for real. They're going to be in the playoffs probably. But then they go and they play the 49ers.
Yeah.
And it's a 12-6 game.
It's raining.
It's raining. It wasn't terrible, though. It was light rain. It's in California. Like, you got to be kind of used to it at this point.
Matt Stafford, for sure.
You go from putting up 40 to putting up 4 field goals.
Yeah.
Not a touchdown. Like, that's got to say something about the Bills' defense. I don't know if anybody's been injured. I don't think anybody has been. But they are a problem.
Well, I mean, they've had a couple guys missing throughout the year. They're starting to get some guys back. That's a different way of looking at it. I didn't look at it this way because I look at the Lions offense as just being so explosive.
And it is. 100%.
Right. And that's a different angle. I didn't even like consider that part of it. For me, it was just like they're so explosive. Like Jared Goff, we're going to talk about him in QB corner, but I mean 5 tugs, almost 500 yards. He had the reverse of the Jameis stat. Like, wild thing. I don't know if you like this crossed your mind, but Goff has won a football game this year throwing 5 picks. He's lost a game this year throwing 5 touchdowns.
Jesus.
Wild. Absolutely insane. Like, that's the just swing of this whole thing. But I didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, because if you compare it, it's like the Bills defense was at the same level as the Lions defense, and the Lions don't have any of their starters that they started with week 1. They don't have a
So what does that say about
starter.
Dan Campbell?
Yeah, it says a
right.
Well, I mean, they got 48 put up on their head.
Well, but that's the thing to me
it was mostly like which offense was better that night.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't have been.
But how far? Like, I don't know how many guys are gonna come back from IR.
Yeah.
But like, if the cavalry can rally, and you have all these guys that have played in these big moments that are guys off the street, heading into a playoff run, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Like, if you get guys back, if you get the cavalry back, and those guys are healthy coming into it, and they are your starters, you've now got guys that also are not beat up because they're, guys off the street, so they've been resting all year, and they've now got experience in these big tight games to where I know it's a loss, and I hate taking moral victories out of things, but that's a moral victory to me.
Yeah, and what
Dave Montgomery's out for the year.
I know, but they also have Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs has been the more
I'm interested to see though, because they have had like the 2 running back split has been extremely important for them and how they run in the situation of it. Yeah. So it's going to be a real test of can Jahmyr be number 1 a bell cow? Can he be a between the tackles guy? Because he's usually an outside runner. So can he be a true between the tackles guy? And then 3. Who's going to be that third guy? Is it Craig Reynolds? Do they bring him to, like, is he going to be returning kicks and getting some work in the backfield? So that's an interesting development that I think is going to screw with the pace of the way the Lions want to play, because they can't run it down your throat all game as much anymore, because like that was part of the thing is like they've got 2 guys that are all pro guys that can go run the ball at you the whole game and they're not tired. Now it puts a lot more on Jared Goff going forward.
And I would be a little bit worried with the amount of production Jahmyr is going to have now.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Knock on wood really quick. Thank you. So, anyways, what do the Lions do now? Like, because if you look at the defense, if they don't get any guys back, like, is if you're realistically looking at this, do you honestly think you could win a Super Bowl this year? Or do you think you have a better chance of maybe, trying not to get anybody else on the offense injured? Because however maybe it's I don't know why so many people are getting injured, but maybe just like taking it a little bit easier.
It depends, because we just watched the Vikings win tonight. They were talking about the end of the broadcast. They now have the strength of schedule bid. So if they win out and the Lions win out, both could win out, and the Vikings will still get the 1 seed. So there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can look at it where if the Vikings win their next 2 games and they're going into Week 18, they're probably going to play their guys for half the game and then rest their starters once they've got a lead. So if they do win, if they don't lose either of these next 2 games, then my mind shifts to, okay, we're not going to get the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Unless they lose in Week 18 and we win out. If they win the next 2 games, we're probably not going to get the 1 seed. So, do we rest our guys completely Week 18 and give ourselves a bye? We're not going to get we're going to win the division, in that we're going to have a home playoff game. So we've got that locked up. Now the question is, we're not going to get a bye, so do we give ourselves a make-believe bye in Week 18 to, get ready, or do you play it out the whole time, which I think this is the way Dan Campbell's going to be. Do you play it out and pray that the Vikings drop a game and that you do get the bye, and maybe in Week 18 you're up enough in Week 18 to where you can get your guys out at halftime, have basically a week and a half bye, and then,
And I mean, at this point with how they're playing, just throw out the second team. See if you could win an NFL game with a complete secondary team.
Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. Just see if you can do it, at this point. But it is something to think about, because with how many guys have been injured on that team, are you more cautious now? Do you honestly, if they honestly believe that they can win a Super Bowl this year with the amount of injuries that they have on defense, then hell yeah, go for it. If you don't 100% think you can win a Super Bowl this year, I would consider trying to keep your guys healthy for next year. Even dropping a couple of games, that's not bad, because if you're going to push next year, getting a higher draft pick would be great for you.
The thing is, it's Dan Campbell. They're playing for it. So it really, it comes down to, but it's Dan Campbell. There's no possibility on earth that they're we'll just pack it in for next year. It's a question of, do the Vikings win their next 2 games? And so we should be, playing cautiously in Week 18 to where we give ourselves a bye, or Vikings drop one and it's all hands on deck. We got to pull this together because we've got an opportunity to get the bye, and it becomes that much more important because now it's indoors.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world, honestly, if the Vikings do get the bye, because if you're confident you're going to make the NFC Championship, it's indoors anyways. So at the end of the day, it's just a question of if the Vikings fall apart all of a sudden and the Packers come out of nowhere, then you're because if they somehow find a way to, I don't know if it's mathematically possible, I haven't looked, but if they somehow find a way to win the NFC, or even Philly wins the NFC, let's say, they're probably more probable. That's an outdoor team that's cold. I don't know if I'm freaking out a little bit if Philly wins it, because then I got to go through Philly, and that's outdoors, potentially play them in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
I don't love that. But if the Vikings win it, then it's okay, if we have to play in the NFC Championships indoors anyway, so that's kind of up our alley, and then we're indoors. We can play indoors the whole rest of the way.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about playing your odds with watching Philly and the Vikings of how you play in Week 18.
You think you could beat Philly?
Yeah.
Right now with
so.
with the defense that you guys have?
I think so. I think because look, I don't think Saquon has enough character, unlike A.J. Brown, to not bitch and moan about getting the ball during that game, and we talked about how I keep wanting to call him Nick Nurse. Nick, whatever his name is, Sirianni is a headlines-driven coach. I think I don't know. I think it's possible. I think that Jalen Hurts is susceptible to having, we saw the supernatural funk before 2 years ago. I think he's susceptible to making mistakes, And if you start to get into the like heads of some of these, like AJ Brown specifically, and where he just isn't playing, then you can win that game.
All right. I'm glad that you're confident.
I'm confident. I haven't given up.
Heisman Trophy.
Fake Heisman.
Let's just give our points relatively quickly. I'll let you start. Travis Hunter won the Heisman. I think out of the candidates, it was between Travis Hunter and Ashton Jeanty.
There was no one else.
So I'm fine with Travis Hunter winning the Heisman. You are not.
I'm not, because we talked about this. If you take Travis Hunter and you put him on a Boise, it means nothing. They're not even a playoff team. If you put Ashton Jeanty on the Colorado Buffaloes, I know I give Shedeur a lot of shit. They would be a powerhouse. Like, with the way that Shedeur, like, we don't even know, no one even knows who the Boise State quarterback's name is.
Yeah.
You give Ashton Jeanty, like, now the question is, would he have the same sort of yards? I don't know, but I'm sure he would still have absurd games.
Yeah, but with that point, the reason why it's bad is also why it's good, is because as a wide receiver, you are under the palm of your QB to get the ball. You can't will yourself to have a great season. You have to get open. You have to have a QB to throw to.
And I understand, and I get that, but like at the same time, like the whole thing is he plays both sides of the ball. And I'm sorry, but snaps is not a stat. What?
Whatever you're gonna say. I pulled the stats. Don't say it.
Snaps are not a stat.
No, I don't know if I agree with that. It's opportunity, and when you're a wide receiver, the amount of opportunity you have compared to the amount of opportunity.
Okay, what are the stats? Did you pull his corner stats?
Yeah.
Okay, what are his corner stats then?
So, as a corner, he was ranked 8th in the entirety of college with 11 pass deflections.
Okay.
He was ranked 18th with 4 interceptions, and he only had 38 targets. So people only threw the ball to him 38 times, which is 3.16 targets per game.
Okay.
So in every game, a QB's only throwing it to Travis Hunter 3 times in a game, which is really good for a corner. Because that's like we said, the greatest corners in the league, you don't know who they are because you don't throw it their way. So with him only getting 3 opportunities a game, and he's ranked 8th and 18th in pass deflections and interceptions. To me, that's with that stat line, you could start at a big school.
Okay.
With that stat line.
I don't disagree. I think
so. That puts him in the top 10 for. Well, he's ranked 18th overall for corners in the entirety of college.
Okay.
So he's a top 20 corner.
Okay. Do we have his receiving stats?
Yes.
Okay.
And receiving is actually, which is surprising, he's actually a better receiver this year than he was a corner.
Okay.
But again, with corner stats,
Okay. Yeah.
So for a wide receiver, he was ranked 6th in total yards. I think it was 1,400 yards, something around there.
6th in the country?
6th in the country.
Okay.
He was ranked 2nd in TDs, and he was ranked 5th in receptions.
How many touchdowns did he have?
He had around 14.
Something about that doesn't seem right. But I'm not saying you're wrong.
He's ranked 2nd.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that seems.
So he is.
So
right now he's number 6. That's his ranking. So he's, depending on how you want to look at it, if it was like you could put him, he's a top 10 and then a top 20, right? But really, he's really close to because he's number 2 in TDs, right? So really, he's a top 5 wide receiver.
They didn't even have a playoff spot.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I get it, and I think it's really cool, but I think it's really gimmicky at the same time.
It's also
college football. It's also college football, and we talk about how like the guys that they're playing, like, and this whole argument of who Ashton Jeanty's playing. Colorado plays fucking Colorado State twice a year. They're dog shit.
They also play Division I teams.
And what was their record against those teams?
I don't have their record.
I'm not.
With me,
I'm not.
But
I'm not saying it to you. But
Arizona
I'm saying
State, like Arizona, that level of programs.
Then what did they do though? That's the thing. Ashton Jeanty had multiple games in which he played 3 quarters, and him by himself is like.
Again, you pulled up something that I was going to bring up, is that there was a lot of times where he only played 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Right? His carries compared to the number 2 running back in the league. He had 344 attempts. The number 2 had 281.
Okay.
That's 63 more carries than the number 2 running back in college football. And he only played 3 quarters for a lot of those games. So that carry number that we're looking at, he already has 63 more. That would be a lot higher if he played that final fourth quarter for those 2 or 3 games. So we would be looking at like maybe.
But doesn't that say something of how dominant he is, though? Like, it's the same thing as, like, Derrick Henry's carrying the ball 50 times in high school. No one was like, he's breaking records and he carried the ball 50 times in high school.
Derrick Henry had more rushing attempts in his Heisman year than
and he had less yards.
Yes, but
he's playing in the SEC.
He's Alabama.
He's playing in SEC. I get it. Yeah. He's playing in SEC. My point is, though, like, when you're looking at it from a football scheming perspective, I give Travis Hunter, he's a great corner. Like, I can go with that. The receiving stats, to me, I don't, like, put a ton into.
There was for sure an effort to get him a lot more stats by Shedeur. Right? Because once Shedeur, like, gave up the Heisman race, there was for sure an effort.
Right, and that's my thing of, like we talk. Like,
but there was also an effort on Boise's side as well.
Okay, but that's my point, though. Let's say you take the ball out of Ashton Jeanty's hands. Where is Boise? Like, you put it in that quarterback's hands. We watched that game.
But that's just difference in position. That's the reason why QBs are usually like MVP.
But that's the point, though, is Travis Hunter's getting force-fed so that he can compete. Ashton Jeanty is being force-fed so that Boise can win games. It's different stratospheres.
I don't know about that. I don't know if it was to just specifically win games. Because, I mean, like, when you got, like, 4 TDs and you're blowing out a team.
But how many of those games are a blowout, though? I have
no clue.
That's what I want to look at.
I will say this. Let's put it in this scenario. You are a college coach. Let's say you're Alabama, right? And let's say that these stats are high school players, right? So you have a high school running back with Ashton Jeanty's stats. 344 attempts, 2,497 yards, averages 7.1. TDs, I think he had like 27 TDs. And then you have 2 different players. Not one, 2 different players. You have one guy, John Doe, who's a wide receiver. He's 6th in the country for passing yards, 2nd in the country for TDs, 5th in the country for receptions. Then you have a separate guy who's a corner who's 8th in the country for pass deflects and 18th in the country for interceptions, right? And you can either get the running back or you can get both of these guys. And if you split it up that way, as if you're getting 2 for 1, and these are really good guys.
But this argument, this is the problem that why, like, I am not the person to talk to about this, because it doesn't exist in the NFL and it's not sustainable in the NFL, and we will never see this in the NFL.
I understand.
And that's the part for me. It's like, it's college football, and 99% of the time, some of these college quarterbacks, we've watched them, can't hit the they can't hit the broadside of a barn with the ball, some of these guys in these big games. So I understand that Travis Hunter is like what he's done, but at a sustainable level, at the next level of like NFL, and I know we're talking about the Heisman, like Travis Hunter will be probably like I don't know what his frame is and like what his size is. I don't like, just looking at his body frame and you look at the other corners in the league, he's definitely got to put some like mass on to hang out with like the big guys in the NFL if he's going to be the number 1 corner on some of these teams. The other thing is, this is not like what he's going to do in the NFL, especially if he ends up in a Patriot system, is like, we aren't going to hear about Travis Hunter like again for the next 2 or 3 years probably.
This Ashton Jeanty is speculation.
How much you want to put on it?
That we won't hear of him?
Like, he's not going to be this, like, the way that he is, like, this big deal.
We got to put, like, something, it's got to be, like an actual, like, specific bet. Like, you want to, we can do yards for wide receiver, and if he plays wide receiver, then
I don't think, that's the thing, I don't think he's going to play receiver, and I think if he does, he's an idiot. I think he's a better corner. Like, I think in the NFL sustainably, like, he can make a career out of playing, playing corner.
I don't know. Like, how would we even bet this?
Like PFF grade, probably.
PFF grade?
Yeah, like
for that.
I think it's a case of college football being like, I don't know. I just think it's college football. Like if this is the NFL and you're looking at this, again, the number one, he's not doing what he's doing.
All of it can also be said because it's college football. Ashton Jeanty is also playing in college football.
I know.
And he's in a worse conference than Colorado Buffalo, which is what it is.
I want to look at these games. I don't know what it is, and I didn't come prepared. I didn't remember that we were going to talk about this, so I didn't come prepared at like the games. But I want to look at their schedules comparatively and see what this is like. I just think that, like,
I briefly looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, for one, they played Arizona State. They are in the playoff running. The rest of the guys, they're bad teams, but they're also there's a lot of money in these teams. Like Arizona, the Arizona Wildcats, they stunk this year, but there's a lot of money in that team. They're good, decent programs. They just they're better. They are better programs than what Boise State had been going up against.
Yeah,
except for Oregon. He played outstanding, and I'm a running back guy. I said it was both of them.
My thing is there's no drop off in performance. It doesn't matter who it is. You know what I mean? I can see the argument if it's Ashton Jeanty played Oregon and was terrible. They shut him down.
But with that argument, you'd only get to look at Travis Hunter as a corner. Because wide receiver, it's dependent on the QB.
Sure.
So if you're going to do consistency, it's got to be corner.
Sure, and I'm fine with that. And I would have rathered him have an insane, just a ridiculous corner year.
But a good corner doesn't get thrown to. He only had, averaged out 3 targets an entire game.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Okay, let's say he gets thrown to, I would have rather seen him get thrown to 20 times and 8 of them are picks, right? In the same reason. That's the whole reason why.
I tried looking up the targets for the number 1 corner in college football. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, and that's the whole argument for Pat Surtain being Defensive Player of the Year this year is because he doesn't get targeted, and because when he does, he gives up 20 yards a game. I don't know what the averages are, but I don't know. To me, it's just watching the two of them. Ashton Jeanty jumps off the page. Travis Hunter's another guy. He's another guy that's a product of college football, of just giant gaps in defenses and receivers that I would love to know. I don't know, but I would love to know what percentage of guys he's guarding they're number 1.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
I could understand.
So you don't see this, especially in college football, you don't see this from a running back. In today's world, there's no one else who's in his stratosphere this year in the running back class. But
again, he could have went to a bigger program and he chose not to.
Sure. But that's to me, and that's the Grit Grimes storyline guy in me that's just he decided not to. He decided to stay in Boise and say, no, we're going to go play.
Oh, you know a funny stat about Ashton Jeanty?
What?
There's one guy who is tied with him for the most amount of rushing touchdowns in college football.
Oh, and it's the guy at Arizona?
Nope.
Oh.
You can't. Okay. It is the quarterback for Army.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, baby.
Now that I think about it, I think they both have 29 or 27 touchdowns.
Hell
They're both tied.
Heisman.
Yeah, fucking Heisman.
Heisman. End of the day, let us know. This was a long, drawn-out thing. Let us know what you think. Was it Travis Hunter or Ashton Jeanty? I am Ashton Jeanty all the way. Are you Travis Hunter, or are you just making an argument for him?
I'm Travis Hunter.
Okay.
I think he deserved it.
Okay.
Either one I'm fine with. Either one deserved it. But, I'm not this is a fraud Heisman. I'm fine with Travis winning. I think he was a very good player.
I think it's a product. I think it's a product of hype. I think that's my other problem with it is, how much press does he get if it's not Deion Sanders? That's my other thing. Do you want to do, since we're on college football, do you want to make predictions, or do you want to do QB corner?
Oh. You know what we should do?
White Man of the Week.
So this one, I don't want to do this one.
I don't know why. What's
I don't
wrong
want
with
to do
it?
this one because, I couldn't do the fan favorite of Josh Allen because you could just voter fatigue at this point. I can't put him 3 times in a row.
Okay.
So I had to go digging and diving.
Okay.
And I crawled into a deep, dark crevice, and I didn't like what I found.
Oh.
I found a demon, a terrible human being, actually.
Oh.
Basically, he should be in jail for 10 years. He's a criminal because he robbed someone very important to me. He stole something from my guy, my boy. He stole Will Levis's starting job. He stole it. God damn it. And oh my God, did flipping Mason Rudolph look insane though? So I had to swallow my pride. I had to swallow my pride because he came in at the half at the half of the third quarter.
He did, yeah.
And he went 21 for 20.
At the third quarter?
Third quarter.
This happened in the third quarter?
Yeah, so like
third quarter
half of the third quarter, Will Levis goes out, Mason Rudolph comes in. He's got a quarter and a half. And he put up this.
He put up this?
He put up this.
I didn't know it was that.
That's what he did.
Okay, I have to change some things on my QB list. Holy Moses.
21 for 26, 209, 2 TDs, 1 interception, but he did it in a quarter and a goddamn half.
And he only had 5 incompletions.
He only had 5 incompletions.
Oh my Lord. I didn't know that was that's incredible.
And no, it's
That's
not.
That's better than Cooper Rush.
It's not.
That's better than Cooper Rush's fourth quarter 100.
Yeah, it was.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was. Mason, you sly cadaver, conniver.
Cadaver's a dead body.
You son of a bitch. Congrats on winning this week's White Man of the Week and stealing my
joy,
heart, love for the game.
Love for the game.
All of the above.
All of the above.
I hope you're happy, Mason.
I hope you're happy, Mason. All right. Since we're talking about quarterbacks, let's do our QB corner. In this segment, Zane and I rank the top 10 quarterbacks from the previous week going into the next week based on statistics, the feeling in our balls, and level of difficulty. This is QB corner. At number 1, I have the one, the only, the alien, Joshua. I don't know if his name's actually Joshua, but I've said it a couple times. Josh Allen, 23 of 34, 362, 2 passing touchdowns in the air, none to himself, 0 interceptions, 10 rushes for 69 yards, nice, and 2 rushing touchdowns. One of them was from the 1 yard line, the other was from the 4. I take back what I said about. Well, no, I don't take back what I said about.
No, because it's not a tush push.
Either way, that's who I've got at number 1 this week. They dismantled the Lions, putting up a total of 48 points. Yes, it was a disheveled Lions team, but that man is on a tear trying to win his first MVP.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about it, but Lamar still has better stats across the board. He's not the front runner. Anyways, I also have Josh Allen number 1.
Josh Allen number 1. You will be happy about this one because I have Lamar at 2. Yeah. I have Lamar at 2. Played a great game. 21 of 25. Ultimately, it came down to level of difficulty. It was the Giants. Yeah. 21 of 25, 290, 5 tugs, 0 interceptions, 6 rushes for 65 yards, no touchdowns. It's a really good game. Again, it's the Giants. Yeah. Soon since we've done QB corner enough, I've started to pull stats of our tendencies of voting and so on and so forth, and Lamar's path this year has been quite interesting. Nonetheless, I have him at 2. 5 tugs is ridiculous.
I have him at 2 as well.
All right. Lamar Jackson at number 3 is where I have Goof.
You son of a bitch, right? Because he lost, and I was going to make the argument that he should still be on the board, even though he lost, because he doesn't have a defense. He almost threw for 505 TDs. I hate you.
Hey, you said it for me. Let's go through his stats here. Goff, 38 of 59. 494, 5 tugs, 0 interceptions. Hey, 2 rushes, 13 yards.
Hell yeah.
No touchdowns. But that's ridiculous in and of itself to see 13 double-digit rushing yards for Goff. He had the reverse of Jameis in terms of statistics. Yes. And then we also talked about it earlier. He's lost a game throwing 5 touchdowns and won a game throwing 5 interceptions. Ridiculousness. We're agreeable at 3?
Yes.
All right, agreeable at 3. Number 4, I have this is where it kind of fell off for me, to be honest with you. I've got Jalen Hurts at 4. Jalen Hurts, this is a level of difficulty pick for me. Yeah. Playing the Steelers, a great defense. TJ Watt was sort of banged up, but still played. So, he's there. The defense is good. He ends 25 of 32, so only 7 incompletions, 290, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 15. That's a secondary running back carrying number. 45 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Jesus. I didn't realize he carried the ball 15 times.
Yeah, that's a lot of carries for a quarterback. So I've got him at 4 here.
I think my level of difficulty definitely isn't as good as yours, but it is definitely up there. It is not like a huge slide off.
Okay.
I have Baker Mayfield.
He's 5.
Yeah, I have him going up against the Chargers.
Yeah.
22 of 27.
Okay.
5 incompletions.
Yep.
288, 4 TDs, 1 interception. 4 TDs.
I'm so disappointed. I'm so pissed off at Baker for these interceptions. Tighten it up. Like, that's why I had to dink him. I had him at 4, and then I scratched him out because I was like, that one interception just like it pisses me off.
It's one interception, but then it's only 5 incompletions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the level of accuracy that he's showing 99% of the game is crazy. 4 TDs. Like, Chargers are no joke. For sure.
They're banged up a little bit, but yeah,
definitely
they're no joke.
The better level of competition was the Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers defense, what they did to my Ravens.
So how do you want to lean then? Hurts or Baker? Because like I said, I've got Baker 5, so it's not like I'm a long way off from you.
Let me see here. So it's 3 TDs to 1 TD, 1's rushing. Was it a tush push? TD?
I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest with you, because I was so done with that game. We were flipping back and forth.
25 of 32. I really do think Baker had a lot better of a game.
It's a more dominant game.
Because he ran away with it, and like
one of his 5 incompletions is an interception.
And you remember it was like the penalties, and like they just like George Pickens.
My only thing is that Hurts didn't get bailed out by a Saquon this week. And it was a narrative game, and like, we're gonna go throw the rock, and like, he had to prove himself. And so it was a little bit of that's what a little bit of it is. Like, this isn't out of the ordinary for Baker.
Yeah.
If you want to lean Baker at 4, I'm fine with it. I can
Folks
go with
at
it.
home, who do you think had better QB play, Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts this week in QB corner? Let's go with you for now. We'll go
Hurts 4,
there, and then we'll go Baker at 5.
Hurts 4, Bake Show 5. All right, at 6 is where I have Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
Yeah, 16 of 30, not pretty completion percentage, but 289, 3 tugs, no interceptions, looking vintage. 6 rushes, 45 yards, leading the Jets in rushing. No touchdown. It's a W versus the Jags, but it's the best game the old man has had all year.
Yes.
And it's 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and then that rushing number is just ridiculous for a 40-year-old man.
Yeah, it is.
So,
okay, this all comes down to how you now currently feel about this team.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were kind of riding high on them.
Okay.
The Seattle Seahawks defense. Because I have Jordan Love going 20 for 27, 229 yards, and 2 TDs in a win versus Seattle. So it depends on how you view their defense now. If you think that their defense is on the level of the Jags.
The reason I have Love on here at 8. I have him 2 spots later. But the reason I have is because in the front half of that game, like going into halftime, Josh Jacobs had 73 rushing yards. So we know what that does in terms of like sucking a defense into the box to stop him. And the pressure was in no way on him at any point during that game.
Okay, we can't dock a guy for having a good game plan.
No, but at the same time, how did the guy Aaron Rodgers had to play that down to the wire to beat a Jags team. I know it's like to beat a Jags team, but he had to play that the whole way through, back against the wall, down at one point to come back. Love was just out there slinging the ball. Like he was there at no point was there in that game in jeopardy of
So this
being
is a
lost.
balls pick.
This is a balls pick to me
Balls
of
pick.
just like Rodgers had his back against the wall the whole game, and he did show up for once this week. This year, he has shown up. Love is like been doing this. There was no pressure. He had a good game, but it wasn't special to me.
You know what? I respect your balls, and I respect Aaron Rodgers' vintage balls for pulling out that way.
Okay,
So let's put him there.
Rodgers at 6.
Yeah.
If you want to put, I'm fine if you want to put Love at 7. I have Jaden Daniels at 7, but it's the Saints, and they almost lost that game.
Yeah.
So if you want to go Love at 7, I can go Love at 7.
I would rather have Love there at 7.
Okay, so Love at 7. Now, with Jaden falling, I kind of want to push Joe up, but the 2 interceptions loom high. That's why I have at 9.
Joe Burrow.
26 of 37, 271, 3 tugs, 2 interceptions. It's a mediocre. It's a really middle of the road Titans secondary.
Well, actually, I mean, the stats say that the Titans secondary is one of the best in the league.
Oh, I thought it was like middle of the road. I thought it was like 15,
No,
14.
for total yards, I think they're second.
Oh, okay. So statistically, they're a pretty good secondary.
Yeah, but I mean, it is. You also have Jamar Chase, so I mean, like,
and like they were down. I think it was like, or no, they weren't down at all during this game, but it sort of got interesting, I guess, with when Mason Rudolph came in the game. So I kind of want to push Joe up a spot and drop Jaden just because of the ridiculousness at the end of that game.
Give me Jaden's stats.
Jaden's stats, 25 of 31, 6 incompletions, 226, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 11 rushes, 66 yards, no touchdowns, led all rushers in the game.
Yeah, we can keep Jaden there. Over
at
2
8.
touchdowns for – I know it's Joe Burrow. I know he's fantastic. 2 touchdowns has to be docked, no matter what.
2 interceptions, you mean?
Yeah, because you can make a mistake, and we'll give you leeway. You make it again, that's when you get docked heavy.
Yeah. So, okay, so leave Joe at 9, JD at 10.
Yeah, no, so I want Jaden above Joe.
Right. So Jaden at 8, Joe at 9.
I got I mean, they didn't play a very good team, to be honest. But, I mean, it is backup quarterback that we're talking about here.
Mason?
No.
Oh.
It is Cooper Rush.
I had Cooper Rush at 10, and then you read me Mason's stats, and I was just like, fuck that. Yeah. Mason's the 10th quarterback this week.
Are we going to have a guy who threw 2 picks on our list when we got 2 guys staring us in the face right here? I mean, Cooper threw for 3 TDs.
The Panthers.
It's Cooper Rush. It's Cooper Rush.
But, like, the weapons that he's got against the Panthers, I'm just like.
Did we have Patrick Mahomes on the list when he played the Panthers? It was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, just by memory.
Let me see. I can find it. Bryce Mahomes.
Have we ever had a guy?
We had Mahomes at 8, but Mahomes threw 269, 3 tugs, no interceptions, 5 rushes, 60 yards.
This guy threw for 214, 3 TDs. And he doesn't have the expectation of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I guess we can.
If we're gonna if we put in a guy up there for having an okay stat line versus the Panthers.
Mahomes is arguably better.
Yeah, it is better. He has more yards, but it's also Patrick goddamn Mahomes. Yeah. And he threw for, you said 269?
298.
298.
3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 60 rushing yards.
80 yards more, but it's also
60 rushing yards.
He's supposed to be the best quarterback in the league, all right? And he put up that against the Panthers.
I argue the Joe Burrow game is more important to the Bengals.
At this point, like, that doesn't sway me. Like, that it's important for the Bengals. Every game is important for a team if they're trying to win games.
Yeah.
What's more impressive, Joe Burrow throwing for 3 TDs and 2 picks versus the Titans, or Cooper Rush, the backup, throwing for 3 TDs versus the Panthers? To me,
but we're in like week 6 of Cooper Rush, and he's done this, and he did this for 4 weeks last year.
Okay, Joe Burrow threw 2 picks this week. Joe Burrow, the man who
against a statistically really good secondary, you said.
Passing yards.
Yeah.
For passing yards, not interceptions. I'm saying he's one of the best.
You want to put Cooper Rush at 8?
Yeah.
Instead of Jaden Daniels isn't at 8? You want to put Cooper Rush over Jaden Daniels?
Keep Jaden wherever the hell he is.
Okay.
I'm arguing whatever's the next slot is. Joe Burrow's he's a top 3 QB.
So Cooper Rush at 9.
Yeah, that's what I would want.
Okay.
Joe's a top 3 guy in the league. He throws 2 picks. He's got to get docked for that. He's too good to throw 2 picks.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's too good.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So then who's at 10 then?
That's where I have Mason, but
So you don't have
I don't have Joe on my list
at all.
No, I don't. The 2 picks, man. To me, that's it. That was big. It was big to me.
We've had okay. I mean, we've had Baker on here multiple times with like 3 picks.
Have we?
Yeah, we can put Mason. All right, Allen, Lamar, Goff, Hurts, Baker, Rodgers, Love, Jaden Daniels, Cooper Rush, Mason Rudolph. That's disgusting. All right, let's go to picks. Okay, Week 16 picks. We start on Thursday night. This is Conviction Predictions. The Broncos play the Chargers in LA indoors. Broncos are coming off of a win against the Colts. Nick Benito is making a late-year case for himself as DPOY. Pat Surtain, we know who he is. Bo is coming off of a tough week, throwing 3 picks, but matching it with 3 touchdowns. Chargers, Herbie played a mediocre game, I would say, against the Bucs. Ladd McConkey's back. The Broncos have officially taken the 6th seed from the Chargers. Ooh. So this is a big game in terms of like leveling the playing field. Mm-hmm. You know where I got to go.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Derwin James went out this game.
Okay.
So I don't think he's going to be playing. So I think
And there's no JK.
Yeah, and there's no JK still. Obviously, we've seen how that has affected the Chargers. Mm-hmm. I will be rooting for the Chargers, but I do think they just got Ladd back. Maybe there's a pop there. I don't think that they're going to win this game. I think the Broncos are playing.
Why are you doing this? You're trying to play on the curse?
No, I legitimately, I actually think like Broncos are playing for more, I would say, because the Chargers, they don't have a running back, haven't been able to get Gus or Vidal going. I mean, Ladd just came back. I'm pretty sure Derwin might be out for next game, so that's going to be tough. You guys, was Riley Moss going to be back?
I don't know. I just pray to God we see more Chris Abrams drain if he's not, and not fucking Levi Wallace.
Yeah, because Ladd will probably get taken down sexually. Will Disley is still out, so then it's just like Quentin Johnston.
Yeah.
And like Joshua Palmer. Like those are the 2 guys that are going to have to beat you guys. I think your defense isn't going to allow that to happen.
Is equipped enough.
I think it's fine overall. So I would like the Broncos in this one.
You want the Broncos in this one. Okay, Saturday we've got a bunch of primetime games, so we got to go through this here. Okay. Saturday, we got Texans Chiefs on the early slot on Saturday on Netflix. It's in the Chiefs' house. Chiefs they just came off a win against the Browns. Okay. Yeah. The Texans came off a win against the Finns. Okay. Nico is back. Joe Mixon had
a terrible week.
Mediocre, less than impressive the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Was last week the week that he didn't? No, he was on the bye, so it wasn't the week before that. Recently, he had a dud game.
He had like 43 yards this week. The main problem for this game is
he didn't even have 43. He had like 20.
Yeah, he had a bad week. The main problem here is the Texans still are terrible in the second half. Yeah. They are just they turn into one of the worst teams in the league in the second half, and you're going up against the Chiefs, who are consistently one of the best teams in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left. Yeah. Like, I don't trust CJ in their offense to be able to make a late game comeback, so they will have to come out in the first half and get enough points. And I mean, I just don't.
We don't know The other thing, we actually don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to play. I think he's going to. I think it's just a fake thing of like, Wefs and Roger Goodell, they hit me in the my leg. You have to be more careful with me because if we don't, we're not going to sweep. So like, I think
last year he got hurt as well.
Oh, suck my dick! Like he does this every year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He does this every year of just like, I got hurt, and he's completely fine, and it's a played up thing. If we get Carson Wentz, then like it's a game.
Yeah, it's a game,
but it's also like the Chiefs, and so he's got to fit the narrative. Yeah, he's got to fit the narrative thing. I'm just so tired of them. Give me the fucking Chiefs.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs as well. I don't believe in their ability to play football in the second half. Yeah. The Texans, I just don't do it.
Ravens-Steelers, rivalry game, another one. And Steelers are coming off of a rough week against a rough kind of 2 weeks in general. Russ has been down without George Pickens. The defense is getting a little banged up for the Steelers. Ravens are kind of riding high, coming off of a kind of meaningless Giants win, but a good confidence booster nonetheless. Yeah. And so it's in Baltimore. The weather doesn't phase the Steelers. I think it comes down to a Justin Tucker kick, and I think he's got the yips. So I'm giving the Steelers.
Okay, do we know if if he's playing this week?
I don't know, and I don't know if George Pickens is playing, but I'm.
If George isn't playing, then like either way, I'm taking the Ravens. They're my guys. But like, if George isn't playing, immediately
should I invoke the curse on him, folks?
Immediately, it doesn't even matter at this point. They've already broken the curse before by Ravens. All right. If
not
George
against
isn't
the
playing,
Steelers.
if George isn't playing, it's not even going to be close. All right.
I don't
Listen
know.
to me right now, Yinzers, Pittsburgh fans. You guys talked a lot of shit last time when Chris Boswell scored 18 points and you guys beat us. All right. If George isn't on that field, like it's going to be nasty and you ain't going to like it, especially if TJ's not playing either. You know, it's going to be a competitive game.
Can I get an asterisk for TJ?
Yeah.
Because that's a big one. Okay. So I can get an asterisk for TJ?
You can get an asterisk.
All right.
I believe in my boys. I think the disrespect that we have gotten when we play Pittsburgh, I mean, Mike Tomlin definitely has our number for sure. But, I mean, we're gonna start crawling at that stat. And this week is the turnaround point for that stat.
All right, Sunday night we head to the Dome where the boys in blue invite the Bucks in red into play on a Sunday night football game. God's day. Give me the fucking Bucks. I want to see the boys cry.
Yeah, give me Bucky Irvin and Baker Mayfield.
Monday night, Saints. Packers. I like how we just breezed over the Bucks.
Yeah, I know. We
boys
actually
game.
gotta, because we're gonna post that clip. We gotta talk about it.
I don't.
We need something. We need something to post before.
I don't know. I you know what? I challenge you, Baker. You're not going to see this, but I challenge you not to throw a pick against the Cowboys. It'd be really sick if you could complete a game without throwing a pick against the Cowboys. Because guess what?
Jesus.
I'm sorry, but I know that I'm disappointed in Baker. I understand he lost Chris Godwin and Mike Evans for like a 4-week stretch there, but there was like 3 different games in that 4-week stretch that if he doesn't throw like 7 interceptions, they win those games and they're potentially up there with the rest of those guys in the mix for like having a home playoff game. And like they're gonna have a home playoff game, but like he's been. Like, he grew up, and we were like, oh, my God, Baker, like, grew up, and he's not throwing picks, and he's being responsible with the ball. He rocks. He's being so good. Yeah. He's an MVP candidate. And then it's just fucking dart to the defense, dart to the defense, dart to the defense. Like, can we pull it together and just play a complete game smart?
I think he has pulled it together. He's playing really well.
But how well is really well when you've thrown, like, 20 interceptions this year?
He didn't have anyone. Right, like your number 1 and your number 2 go out.
But that's the separator. Shepherd. But that's the step. That's the separator, though. Like if Baker wants to be part of that next conversation, if he wants to be an MVP candidate, you don't like. I would rather.
Yeah, this is the first year Josh Allen hasn't thrown picks. All right, give him some time. Give him some time. Josh Allen was throwing picks all over the goddamn field.
But he also was putting up 50 touchdowns.
I know, but like just give him some time. You know, people. It's the National Football League. They're going to develop. I mean, he's been the 2 playoff games with 2 different teams. He's probably going to make his 3rd. He's going to go back to back this year. Just
don't throw a pick against the Cowboys.
Bucky Irving has been outstanding. Rashad White, Otten, like that offense is high powered. There's no way that they're going to lose to the Cowboys. Hopefully. So
why'd you say that? Why'd you say that? Then we're gonna have to put Cooper Rush on the list next week. Moving on, before you say anything else.
Oh, after you just ripped Baker a new asshole. All right, let's go.
We got the Saints Packers on Monday Night Football. This game is meaningless. These games.
This game doesn't mean anything.
It's terrible. This is a terrible game to have on Monday night. Yeah. Why do all of the primetime games suck this year, dude?
All the Monday night games suck.
They all suck. They're so hard to watch.
It's going to be like, I don't know, Josh Jacobs hat trick, no explosive plays whatsoever. run the clock out from the second quarter on. You know, like
Spencer Rattler's going to throw like 7 interceptions against that defense if Jair Alexander is healthy. Like, I don't know what to say about this game. Give me the Packers.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe Dan Rizzi, is it in Lambeau? Maybe Dan Rizzi goes to Lambeau, drops 4 massive logs, clogs out the stadium pipage, and then it floods the field. All of a sudden, it's a wet water game. Everybody's sliding around. And then Taysom Hill, and then Taysom Hill shines. No, he's out for the season.
Dead.
Never mind.
Taysom Hill's dead.
Nothing's going to happen. This game's meaningless. Give me the Packers. Jesus. Dan lays 4 huge logs.
All right, let's do rapid fire. We got the 2-minute drill. Holy shit. All right, 2-minute drill. Starting 3, 2, 1. Rams at Jets. Give me the Rams.
Give me the Rams.
All right, Eagles, Mandos.
Ooh, give me the Eagles.
You're going to go Eagles?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
It's tough. It was tough for me.
Give me the Eagles. Falcons, Giants. Falcons at home.
Give me the Falcons.
Yeah. I hope we get to see, I really hope we get to see Mike this year. Cardinals, Panthers.
Screw it. Give me the Panthers.
I was gonna go Panthers when I was writing these down. I was like, I gotta take the fucking Cardinals because they're my guys. Browns, Bengals.
Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, give me the Bengals too. Right, Titans, Colts.
Give me the Titans.
Hell yeah, I'm going Titans with you.
Hell yeah.
Lions, Bears.
Didn't they just? Oh no, they didn't just. But give me the Lions.
Yeah, me too. Vikings, Seahawks.
Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, I think we're going to get Sam Howell the rest of the year. I might have ended up accidentally being right that they were going to be trying out quarterbacks. Pats, Bills.
Son of a, give me the Bills.
Man,
these are easy weeks.
Dude, I was gonna go. I was gonna go Pats. If you went Pats, I was gonna go with you and be like upset spot. Drake May. Jags, Raiders. Give me the Jags. Give me Mac Jones. Give me Mac Attack.
Give me Brock Bowers.
Give me Brock Bowers. Not even Desmond Ridder. Brock Bowers.
Give me Brock Bowers.
All right, last game of the week. We got 49ers. Finns, another meaningless game. That means nothing for either franchise.
You pick first.
I don't believe in anyone in this game.
Give me the Finns.
Give me the Niners. Okay, there it is. Zane.
We went together for a lot of those.
Yeah, we really did. It's either going to be a terrible week or a good week. Look, Zane's winning right now. 8-7 after this week. That's all I gotta say. This is going to be a terrible. It's a
close round, split decision.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah.
Or the last week, the one that we just finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a close game through close week.
Already.
This week is just, I don't even know what to say. I just give me the college football playoffs.
So let's do more predictions. College football playoffs. First off, before we get into
Boise State championship.
College championship.
College national championship.
National champions.
Not actually.
Who are you actually taking?
Give me the teams. I don't know who actually made it.
Ohio, Tennessee, Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, Indiana.
Tennessee. Okay.
Penn State, SMU, Boise, Georgia, Arizona, Oregon.
Give me the last 4 again.
Oregon, Arizona, Georgia, Boise. Those are the first seeds.
Oregon's not for real.
Really? Those ones I read off are all
historically, like Oregon's. Oregon doesn't play well in college playoffs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of I can think of 1 year that they've played well in the playoffs. Like they've got there and then played well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So historically, I don't believe in them. Now their coach is a psycho. He took a sledgehammer into the locker room and beat the shit out of the Huskies helmet. He's a psycho, and I love a psycho.
No, Week 2 of the playoffs, he's going to walk in. He'll either be playing Ohio State or Tennessee. gonna walk in with a 44 Magnum, start laying rounds into a helmet.
Can I see it?
Yeah,
I need to physically see it. Okay, so we've got.
I
wanted to take
whoever's gonna win.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take
Georgia got a bye.
Yeah, off of the bowl game.
Oh, okay.
Bowl games were super important.
I was like, Carson Beck has laid eggs.
Yeah, bowl games were super important. Most people who won their bowl games, that's why Arizona State's in there.
Okay.
Because they won their bowl game.
Okay.
I'm gonna go.
This is their national rank.
Yeah, that's their rank, and then the seedings on the left.
Right.
Side.
Okay. Okay.
I was gonna go Georgia.
I'm gonna go Texas.
You're going Texas?
I'm gonna go Texas. I like Quinn Ewers. I don't think Ohio State has. I haven't heard about them. I haven't watched them.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon, I don't think. Like I said, historically, I just don't think it's there. Georgia, I like Carson Beck, but he doesn't show up in big spots. Boise's quarterback's not reliable, and if Ashton Jeanty can't play from ahead, then they're not going to play well. Thankfully, they've got Penn State and SMU. Penn State's quarterback announced that he's staying an extra year, but we saw what they are, and it looks like they're a tight end, and that's pretty much it. And I think
the quarterback made some good plays in that bowl game.
I
I'm going
think
with Georgia
it's
just
doable.
because they've been in really tight games and they've won. Like they were in 2 overtime games and they won both of them. And one of them was a bowl game.
Just down the line, I just don't like the games that for that exact reason. Yeah. Like I don't love Georgia for that exact reason. Like I don't know if I trust Carson Beck in those spots because they're like they've got. Well, I mean that side of the bracket's not exactly. Like Notre Dame, Indiana. I don't know anything about either of those teams this year.
Indiana was good, but they were one of those teams that didn't play that high level of competition. Later down the line, when they came out with like the power rankings at the end of the season, their strength of schedule was actually pretty tough. Okay. But at the beginning, the very beginning rankings of all the teams, they had a really easy schedule.
Okay. I'm going to go Texas because if you get through, like if Texas can get through, and this is Arizona as in the Sun Devils.
With that one running back. So I think whoever.
that team's like that. Okay. Yeah. Give me Texas. If they get through Arizona and they can get through Oregon, then they'll win the national championship. So give me Texas.
Yeah, just off of first impressions, I'll just take Georgia just because their ability to play in overtime.
Yeah. Okay, so let's pick the games then.
Alrighty.
So Ohio State, Tennessee.
Yeah. So 6th ranked for 7th ranked?
8 and 9 in the tournament.
8 and 9. Oof. I haven't watched any Ohio State. We did watch Tennessee. They play Georgia?
Texas a bunch of times.
No, Tennessee versus Texas. Didn't we watch that? Because I remember their QB. I didn't like their QB. Their running back is, I think he's like ranked 5th overall in the country. Mm-hmm. So they have a really good running back. I'm going to take, actually, you know what? Because Tennessee's running back is ranked really high. Ohio State lost to Michigan. Michigan can't throw the ball. They just run the ball. So that matchup, just on the very little college ball knowledge that I have, give me Tennessee in that one.
Okay. Give me Ohio State. I'm just going to go off of the wide receiver factory that they are.
Wide receiver?
Yeah, give me Ohio State. Okay, so we're split there.
Clemson.
No, I was letting you announce it.
Oh, Texas versus Clemson, the number 3 ranked overall in the country versus number 16th ranked. I think it's pretty obvious. Give me Texas.
Yeah, I'll take Texas.
Yeah, Texas, Quinn Ewers, that is his touch on the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't even seen Clemson this year, so I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, Notre Dame, Indiana. This is the 5 and 8 in national rankings, 7 and 10 in the tournament. I
haven't watched either of these guys.
From everything I've heard, Notre Dame is just their dog. So give me the Dom.
Give you the Dom. Indiana's for sure going to be an underdog in this. Mm-hmm. I think they've dropped a couple really big games to good programs, but I've heard a lot about their coach and how he completely turned around that.
The Dom?
No, Indiana. I've heard a lot about their coach. I don't know his name. It's like Ziegler or something. He completely turned around that program. So, I mean, from what I've heard about the coach, they're made to they don't stop.
Okay.
They just keep going. So give me Indiana.
Give you Indiana. All right.
I think they'll at least get one upset in the playoffs.
Okay. And you want to announce the last one?
Penn State versus SMU. SMU. Number 4 ranked.
What's all this fuss been about SMU this year?
I have no clue.
There's been a bunch of fuss that I have no idea what it's about.
So we watched Penn State. We didn't get to watch SMU. But from Penn State, I like their quarterback. I like what they had going on. I love their tight end. And I don't know who
I love their tight end, too. I hope we draft him this year.
Yeah, I don't remember who they played, but they dominated that game. So,
yeah.
I mean, just based off of the fact that I thought SMU was like a Division II school, I'm going to go Penn State.
See, now here's where it gets difficult for me because I want to see Boise State play in the next round. And do I pick what's right or do I pick what my balls are telling me?
Yeah.
Give me the upset, SMU. The 11 seed will be the upset here. So Zane in this first round, he likes Tennessee, Texas, Indiana, and Penn State. Devin likes Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, and SMU. Okay.
Did we just go opposites of each other? Except for Texas?
Except for Texas, yeah.
Texas. All right. Texas. We'll see. Disclaimer. We don't watch college football.
No, we do not watch college football.
We have no idea who's good, who's bad. Just the teams we've watched, we like them.
We've watched Georgia like the most, I think.
Yeah.
I've certainly watched Georgia the most of college football
and when
this
we
year.
watched them, they weren't impressive.
No.
But, I mean, for whatever reason, I still took them. I think it's just because we watched them the most.
Yeah.
That's everything.
That's it all.
That's got to be a longer one.
Yeah, that one was long. All right, folks. There it was. We did it. Do all the stuff. Like, comment, subscribe down below. My name's Devin. That is Zane. This is Buffet Sports. You can catch us on YouTube, TikTok, and the Instagram at buffet.sports. We're getting close to the NFL playoffs, baby. We're already in the college playoffs. We got,
6 days.
36 days.
Well, now it would be 35 days.
35 days left of college football. Our sweet, sweet American sport is coming to an end here in the next couple months. It's tragic, but it's getting exciting. So we'll catch you guys on the other side. Do all the stuff.
Subscribe. Makes things tingle inside of my body.
Good chow.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like